Yo, yo, yo. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Logistics Lounge. We have a star studded cast for you today. You see, we have Mr. Tim Bannon for one, and we have two other
Hello.
going to come on and talk about commercial insurance. And in the news, are drivers out there unaliving people? We'll find out. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the lounge. You like, you like that, didn't you?
We know
I'm
what you're doing
scared.
out there, YouTube. You ain't gonna
I'm
get us that easy.
yes, exactly. I even I even changed the words in my notes for the news because it has the M word in it, and I was like, yeah, let me change this because I just read my notes verbatim. You know what I mean? So like, I was just fucking yeah. That's funny shit right there, dude. It's gonna be good stuff, man.
Hmm.
Um, Mr. Bannon, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing? I'm happy to be here. I'm glad it worked out. I had some free time this afternoon, so it's good to catch up with you guys.
Hell yeah, man! It is, brother. We ain't had you on in a little bit.
It's been a minute.
Steve, what's up, brother? How you doing? Glad, man. Steve had a great weekend, man. Dude, love the baseball stuff, Steve. You know what I'm talking about. Good shit, brother. I miss the baseball days with my kiddos. Um, yeah, man. It's just good to have you back, bud. It really is.
It's
I
good.
mean, me, Hunter, you, and Claudia. We talk all the time in that fucking group chat.
Dude, it's so hard to keep up with, man. When y'all get going, like half the time I'm booking loads, then I pop in and I'm like, I'm not even reading this. I'll talk to
Yeah,
you
we can. We can
He's like, I'll just call one of the three people in the group and then I'll catch up, man. But
later. Yeah.
it's
Normally I'll just ask Rob. I'll be like, what were y'all talking about?
yeah,
And
yeah.
he gives
Sometimes
me the
it
cliff notes, and it's all good from there.
sometimes it just kind of runs on.
man. I tried the other day. I tried going and finding like the start of that conversation, and I got so
You
fucking tired of
start.
scrolling. I was like,
Dude,
forget it. I was like,
they
just
need a little
forget
search tab in there or something, or a way to like
it.
mark notes. It's crazy.
I was like, dude, I just wanted to know how long it's been going on because I think we've been doing it for like 6 months at least at this point.
Yeah.
Since
Whenever we had y'all on, which I think was like in January.
yeah,
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 I tell you, I'm in a Teams feed with her also, and about 9 other people. Man, you should see that feed. It's we're trying to find something that somebody posted a while back. It just goes on for days.
yeah.
Is my audio okay? I'm using a laptop microphone, so I don't know. Cool,
Yeah,
good.
you're coming in clear.
Yeah, man, you're freaking you're fantastic, brother. No worries here. Oh crap, let me do that. Look at Steven. Steven texting us during the show, man. He can't just comment. He's got a text. We love you, Steven.
Thanks for watching, Steven. We know you're
Yeah,
there.
we love him, man. Old redneck trucker, man.
What up,
He's one of the
redneck?
homies. Mr. Hound, how was your day, brother?
My day was eventful, more than it should have been. I told you earlier about my debacle with the dispatcher that doesn't know how to read a rate con, and that
Yeah,
was
that
fun.
shit was funny.
Oh, dude, yeah, asking for, the receiver's 24/7, so I put can deliver today or tomorrow. Like I put 8 a.m. for today. The load like it was past 8 a.m. and then delivered tomorrow by 4 o'clock, and she was like, I need it to be 24/7. And I was like, it is. And she sent me a screenshot and I sent one right back to her circled in red, like 22nd, 23rd. And she still didn't like it. So she called me and I was like, all right, let me break this down for you. Today's the 22nd, tomorrow's the 23rd. That is a full window. It just needs to deliver by 4. And she was like, oh, I get it now. And I was like, woman, you got some problems, but all good. They're picking up the freight, so no complaints. But other than that, good day. We got some storms coming through, so I hope I don't lose power. My lights were kind of flickering earlier, so bear with me. But yeah,
Yeah, you're
all
getting
in all,
bad weather, huh?
yeah, man, left and right. I hope it doesn't flood again because our river is pretty high still. I don't know why it's taking so long for it to go down, but last thing we need is another 2010 flood. That was
Yeesh.
that was no bueno. But how you doing over there, Rob? Y'all been getting some weather too, man. All them
Man,
tornadoes and
we
wind.
have, dude. I mean, we haven't had any tornadoes near us since I don't know, like 2 weeks ago. Whenever I made that post or whatever, there was some down in Houston though.
Yeah,
And being coincidentally, one of the ladies that I have two older sisters, and I'm their handyman. So come over and help them and shit. And I was at one of their houses this weekend, and her kids, her adult children, were up from Katy. Dude, their freaking yard flooded. Katy flooded real bad. They don't know if there was any damage to the house, dude. And the messed up thing is they just replaced their fence, which let me tell you, fences are not fucking cheap at all.
Oh,
And
no.
dude, they just placed 2 months ago, and the storm knocked most of the fence down. I was like, oh, that fucking sucks so bad. But yeah, so we're actually supposed to get
Does
some storm.
insurance cover that? Like,
I don't, man. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I've I've done some fence bids for people who are trying to file it on insurance, but none of them had panned out. But I don't know, maybe that's just because I wasn't the cheapest person who bid the job. I don't know. But that's a good question. I bet probably some of them do, but it's maybe like some additional thing, because like my homeowner's insurance, it covers my house, and if I have like an external building on my property, it'll
mhm,
cover up much. But I'd have to look at mine and see if it says it covers a fence. So I
yeah,
don't know.
maybe we can dig into that with our guests.
I was
Let
gonna
them
say,
know.
yeah.
You can. They are the know all for insurance. So yeah, definitely. But other than that, day's been all right, man. Just man, it was super busy this morning, man. I I looked got to work and then looked at the clock, and it was 11:41. And I mean, I was like, holy shit, this day is like flown
Insane.
by. And yeah, spent most of my day trying to book these two loads, man. That been a pain in the ass, man. I've had to roll them for 2 days, and I don't know why, but
Dude,
it's it.
it feels like this week should be Blitz week because I've also been having troubles finding trucks for loads. Like it's
Yeah,
insane.
dude. Last week, it's my customer out of Central Louisiana, which I've told you before. Like they're just in a weird fucking place, you know what I mean?
Oh, I
And
know about
but
Louisiana.
yeah, dude, last week, man, I booked. They gave me like four or five loads last week. I booked every single one of them in like an hour, dude. It was nuts. And then they gave me two loads this week, and man, they were both supposed to pick up Monday afternoon, and here it is Wednesday, and they both just picked up, and it was freaking crazy. But either way, it's been good, man. I can't complain. It's been a good day. You know what else is good is when you're able to have real GPS tracking and be able to find your assets or your freight or anything else that you could think of to stick a tracker on. And you're going to be able to do that with Gigo.
Man, your segue was awesome.
I know you like that. To
You
tell
got
you,
it
bro,
dialed.
we're pretty sick at this sponsor game at this point. You know what else is really sick? When you do business with Shoreline Capital, and you can get those factoring rates as low as 1.5%. And you know what? You don't even have to be a broker or a carrier. You can be in any business that has invoices, and you don't want to wait for your darn customers net 30, 45, 90, and I've even heard up to 180 days, because there is nothing that is more surefine than Shoreline.
Another one. You're a stud.
Hunter is the one that got me started on that, man. If you go back and watch some of our earlier shows, like Hunter would push me into like the sponsorships, and he would always do this really funny segue, and I don't know, it just rubbed off on me. And sometimes I do it, so sometimes I don't. But I have to admit, Hunter is the king of the lead into the sponsors. Like I don't know
Yeah.
how he does it. He really is good. Steve, you have to remind us. Oh, there's hundreds of them. I think he's talking about trucks sitting in Charleston waiting for the ports to get back. What happened in Charleston, man? You got to tell us in the comment. I don't know what happened. I'm not in the Dre world, bro. So what happened in Charleston? Why were they closed for 2 days? I don't memorize anything, and because it would be completely fucking pointless. Because as most of you know, I have a brain injury, and I am not in control of what information stays in my head and what does not. So I don't really memorize anything. I write everything down, or I have like 8,000 of these sticky note things in my drawer. That's how I remember shit right there, man.
So your little speech about your sponsors, do you have that written down? You're just reading it like from a teleprompter?
No, I just spit that off the top of my head.
Dude, you're so smooth.
Yeah, I try to be. Again, it's all because of Hunter, man. Hunter is the master on the grasshopper. You know
Nice.
what I mean? You shall learn the way, young grasshopper. What no way to lead when you are sure. That's right, Corey. When you know it's a sure thing with Shoreline. Oh man! All right, we're gonna speed this along. We're already at 11 minutes here. See what you do, Tim. We bring you on, and you fucking throw everything off. Let's get to this news,
Please.
This is quite an interesting one. Man, I saw this one and I was like, oh, I have got to bring this up. All right, as you see, 850 M words are linked to truckers in a book by a former FBI agent, allegedly. The book that is about to be published by former FBI agent details some 850 unalivings linked to truckers since the start of the Highway Serial Unalivings Initiative. Man, it feels so weird to have to say that word versus what the real word is. Former Assistant Director of the FBI, Frank, and I may be pronouncing his last name, Figlazoo, what? Yeah. His book, Long Haul, Hunting the Highway Serial Unalivers, they say is a look into the dark side of America's highways, revealing that the FBI Unaliving Killing Initiative hunt for these long haul truckers is behind 850 mergers and rising. Yeah, I got it. The book talks about the unaliving related to truckers like the truck stop unaliver, the interstate strangler. Man, I hope that one doesn't ping, Hunter. And more details of the more recent and yet to be serial unalivings by individual truckers, such as the life being taken of a former model by the name of Tracy Ray Rollins Jr. I have not heard about that one. I don't know if anyone has. If you have, let me know. I'm actually going to look it up. Finally, this gentleman right here, Frank, he's ended this article by saying, if you're a trucker, first, God bless you and what you do for the American economy. And this book is for you. There you go. Really, I don't know how it's for them. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll help keep them safer. I'm really not too sure, but pretty interesting, man. I actually heard about not this book, but heard about. Actually, I'll take this. Has anyone heard of the George or the Garth Brooks conspiracy about this?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
So I had heard about this by going down the rabbit hole of that. Like again, not this book, but this whole subject matter and stuff. And it's quite interesting. And a lot of it is for it kind of being a conspiracy in a way. It's really
It
believable.
adds up, dude. It
Dude,
adds up. It is crazy.
1,000%. That's fucking right, Corey. That's right. We're awesome. Not you, Tim. You suck. Not playing. Most may off known identifies was a I don't know. I don't know what he was talking about. You know, he talks about so much shit. It's hard to keep up with Steven's comments
I'm saying.
sometimes. But anyway, there you go. Really cool. Sounds like a really cool, interesting book. You see it right there on the screen. It's called Long Haul. I mean, it's not out yet, but it will be. So if you're interested, go look that up. I definitely am going to look into it because this is kind of like it's very interesting to me. Again, that whole Garth Brooks theme, and there's even other like singers and stuff that people are trying to attach the same deal to. You know what I mean? But so yeah, there
That's
you
pretty
go.
cool. We'll have to try to get that guy on the show.
Oh,
Get his
dude.
take.
Hunter, remember that. Remember that. This.
Okay.
Oh yes, that would be a show to remember, man. You know it would be to have that guy on the show to talk about this. Oh, man, that would probably have to be a recorded one though, because of the terminology he's going to use. We may have to do bleep. You know what I
That
mean?
would be funny.
or just record you and I saying unaliving and then put it over.
No, we'll get old Joe Daniel on. We'll get him to do a funny voice.
Yes, get Joe to do it. That you have to do it as Mark Wahlberg again. That shit would be so
On
funny.
a live.
Oh man, that would be a good one. Okie dokie artichoke. We've wasted enough time, ladies. We're sorry. Usually we have you on a lot quicker, but again, Tim came on here and he freaking messed everything up.
I've said 2 words, please.
Now you've said 5.
There you go. We're just you're the scapegoat today, brother. Just accept it, okay? Just
Fair
accept
enough.
it. All right. Without making you wait anymore, Jessica and Natasha with United. Yeah,
Hey guys, how are you?
we're awesome. How are you two?
Doing great.
Natasha, I think
Natasha,
you're
you're
on
muted
mute.
if you don't know.
Pulling a Rob.
She does
I
that.
know.
Hey, I do that a lot.
Technology caution.
I'm new to the world of streaming, video chatting, things like that. Relatively new, anyway.
It's all good. Well, welcome to the show, y'all. Thanks for coming
Hey,
on.
thanks for having us.
How's y'all's day
So,
been?
Pretty busy.
go ahead. Sorry.
Good. Good. It's finally dry here and not raining.
Yeah. We're catching it out here in Tennessee. So, Natasha, you probably got some storms coming your way too.
Yeah, it looked like for the rest of the weekend, it's just, I mean, it was just last week. The storms are really crazy,
Mm-hmm.
really intense.
It's been brutal here too. We had a breeze that blew all the leaves out of the tree, and I spent an hour cleaning up my backyard yesterday. Sucks.
Oh my god.
Where you at, Tim?
Las Vegas.
Oh,
I bought a Black & Decker blower / vacuum. Best thing I ever bought. Makes cleanup so easy.
Nice.
So okay. First off, I just want to say this, Hunter. We're going to have to take Jessica and Natasha's hands, and we're going to have to guide them through this and push them in the direction we want them. I can just tell that already. And it's funny that they're shy on here because we met them at Matt's. You couldn't get them to shut the fuck up.
that's the truth.
Yeah, in person on phone, I'm great. And they stuck a camera in my face, and I just turned like blood red when we were at Matt's. I'm like, I haven't really been on camera much, for sure.
I'm with you, Natasha. It's way different being on video. It's very uncomfortable.
Crap, me to myself. It was. I don't even know. I was just about to talk and I caught it. I don't even remember how we met at Matt's, but I remember. I don't know. In my mind,
I think it was at the Please Advise happy
Yeah.
hour.
I was gonna throw out the Discord.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
You're
Love's
right.
great. Not that
Yeah.
we're advertising for that, but yes, it is a great group of people and has made a bunch of connections, and that's where we were.
Well, it was awesome because you're right, Hunter. We did. We met him at Reed's thing at that Irish pub.
That bar was
and
awesome.
Yeah, it was. That was freaking. Matter of fact, I think one of the pictures. I think I got
Oh,
a
I got a
picture
pin.
with both of y'all in it while we were there. But
That was
I remember.
O'Shea's. I
Yeah,
got a pin
O'Shea's.
here.
Yeah, that place was. I have that same
I got
button.
mine
That
right
thing
here.
is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's so funny. I have mine in my room, and I remember Hunter and I. We were just walking around Matt's the next day and ran into you guys at your booth. And man, we did. We just sat there and chopped it up, walked outside and talked for like
I felt like I was at the mall by y'all's booth though, because that booth next to y'all, they were like, "Come get a massage, come get a massage." I
Oh,
was
they
like,
had the
"I don't want a
massage
massage."
gun. They were awesome, those
That
girls, though. They were
Yeah.
hilarious.
that was a
They
great
pulled in a lot of
attraction.
traffic.
It was, and I will say that the owner of that company or whoever does that stuff was very smart in the selection of people that they had doing the demonstration. We'll just leave it at that. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
we
Like,
learned a
There were
lot of
definitely
terms
some
there.
lingering truck drivers around that booth.
yeah,
What was
Yep.
that
they
term for
knew.
them? The booth babes? That's what they called
Yes.
themselves. They're
Yeah,
booth babes.
they were.
They
They
pulled in a
know.
lot of
They
traffic.
knew, yeah, they knew exactly who they were fucking marketing
Those
to.
things
Carlos,
were
if you're watching, jot that
$400.
down for when you get our booth.
Yeah, absolutely. I told them next year that let us know what booth they're in because we're putting ours right next to theirs
Wait,
again.
Jessica bought one of those. They were like
I did.
some of the things they have were like $400. I'm like, that's a tens unit for
It's
400.
cooler. It's cooler.
400
That's
bucks for
nuts.
10
I
units.
cannot believe the amount of truck drivers that bought that unit from them. I was kind of surprised. I mean, they were great salespeople, but I was a little surprised.
I could tell
How-
you why they bought it, but we'll just leave it there. It's
I mean, I could tell you why I bought it, but we'll just leave it there.
okay. Oh my God. Oh Lord have mercy. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Y'all can choose who goes first, but the question that we lead with, and this is about you two, not about United, but who is Natasha and Jessica, and how have you came to be where you're at professionally?
Go ahead, Jess.
You always put me first. My name's Jessica. I'm with United Commercial Insurance. I actually have been sales for a long time, selling a lot of stuff that didn't really do anything for anybody. And I grew up in a family of truckers. My dad was a truck driver. I've got 6 uncles, 3 or 4 cousins. I have a semi truck on my property right now. Like, it's just not foreign to me. My brother's a shipper. And they kept asking me insurance questions. And I was like, bro, you got Google. I'm not an agent. And my cousin and I grew up together, and we had this stupid thing, and we did a lot of stupid things when we were younger over that double dog dare. And he's like, hey, you remember that thing? Why aren't you an agent? And I said, why am I not an agent? And that's how I came to be. And I love what I do. I get to talk to the guys that I've always talked to my whole life. Easy to talk to. I'd rather, and my heart's in it. I try to help everybody I come across, just to find good coverages, the right coverages, and the best fit for their business. I guess I always say that doesn't come with the best price necessarily. You might get a great price and it's not going to cover you for anything, and brokers aren't going to accept it. And then how do you make your money? That's not a good fit. That's my opinion. But it doesn't mean the price is always high either.
We'll get there. Turn off your salesperson. Turn off
Turn
the
your
sales.
sales
That
down.
was
Okay. All right. Just wait. We're gonna get there. We're gonna have fun today because we've got fucking shit. I don't know. One of the masters. It's so confusing. You know what I mean? It's gonna be interesting. Natasha, what about yourself?
So I was growing up, my dad was an insurance agent. He's been an insurance agent since I was about 2 years old. And so when I graduated high school, I did hair for a while in my prior career. I was a hairdresser. And he said, hey, why don't you go get your insurance license, get some corporate training. So I've worked at like Allstate, Geico, all that fun stuff. And then he started an online business, generating the leads online. He learned how to do that himself. And we specialized in high risk car insurance. Back then, if you had anything over 7 points, you got kicked out to this pool and nobody would write you except the state. And so that was kind of our niche. We specialized in talking to people that had DUIs, DWIs, multiple accidents, and we just kind of talked to them like they were regular people. One day, a customer came and he'd had a DUI a couple years old, and he said, I need a trucking policy. Can you do that for me? And all we could do was do it through the state. And so I struggled through it. I really struggled through it with the state. And that was just something I was really interested in. He was so happy with getting his trucking business back on the road. So we started generating leads online, and that turned into kind of a new venture thing. So I've been writing brand new DOT policies for about 15 years. And then once I came over to United Commercial, Brandon, our boss, asked me if I'd be interested in trying something different. And so I came over to the department where Jessica has helped build. And we now are talking to people that have been in business for at least 2 years or more, which is really nice switch in the conversation for me. I loved my new venture guys, but that was primarily a progressive world. And I also love progressive. I wouldn't be here without them, but I've really enjoyed getting to shop some other markets and talk to people that have kind of ironed out the kinks and know what they're doing a little bit more, what they're hauling, where they're going. And I just always loved trucking insurance. My dad and I did it together for a really long time. And then he retired a few years ago. UCI bought that book of business and offered me a position. And I've really enjoyed working remote with a team and having customer service representatives. I'm not tied to it all the time. I mean, I would do certificates in the parking lot at Audi's on a Saturday, certificates on Sunday because it was just the two of us. And so United Commercial Insurance has been my favorite job, and we really enjoy working with Great West, of course.
I love the fact that you're out there parking lot pimping some damn insurance.
Yeah. Yeah. My
Like,
kids, I'm like, hey, oh my God, I got to do a certificate. So my kids have grown up we've always worked from home. But one time, 10 years ago, my dad still talks about it today. On a Sunday at like 10 o'clock at night, somebody requested a certificate and he didn't get it done because he was sleeping. And the guy called the next day, I missed this load, kind of chewed him out. And so he never let that go. We never wanted anybody to miss a load because we didn't get the certificate out, even though you can call Progressive and get your own certificate. Back then, they were real fancy and the brokers wouldn't take them. They wanted that Accord form. And so we were kind of working all the time, kind of tied to it with just two of us running the agency.
that's awesome. And Jessica, before I get to you, I have a question for you already. But Natasha, I'm very interested in insurance. Never been in it, but it's just one of those things that intrigues me. What do you mean? You had said getting it done through the state. Like what does that mean?
So I lived in New Jersey at the time there, so we just did regular old car insurance. But if you had anything over a combination of 7 DMV and or insurance points, so accidents are going to be insurance points, DMV points are going to be your moving violations. Anything over 7, you had to go into a high risk pool, and that policy was issued through the state, and they still do that a lot. That was called NJ PAPE then, New Jersey Personal Automobile Insurance Plan, but like Texas has one. And so if you write the personal auto policies, they require you to also, write commercial insurance. And Jersey's got these really fun dollar a day policies, which have no coverage. And so it's a really long process. You quote it, you have no idea if it's going to be accurate. They'll only do 750,000 in liability. I didn't know back then. A lot of truckers were getting by with 750, and everything cost like $8,000, brand new, established, whatever it was. All the policies were like $8,000. And so I guess that was about 2008, 2009. So you were forced placed into a pool with the state where they would offer you really high insurance, really high price. Everything had to be financed. And that's kind of where you were. And then within a few years, they kind of settled into where Progressive will take you if you've got a DUI. A lot of the insurance companies now will write those policies. They just charge accordingly.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never heard that. That's pretty awesome. Jessica, question
Yeah.
for you. I did not know this. Maybe you had mentioned it in some previous conversations, but Natasha had said that you kind of built this little sector with United where you're. I mean, can you walk us through like was that from your previous stuff, and what has it been like doing this and getting out there in the commercial thing with drivers and such?
So honestly, United Commercial Insurance has been in business for a really long time, and they did have a big focus on new ventures, brand new people in business, capturing the new venture trucking, and didn't really have a super focus or hadn't had a real strict focus on people that had been in business and marketing to them. And I was pulled over by a gentleman that's no longer here and left my prior position. I had a small amount of help. That is exactly right. I did have a small amount of help. I did have a great big help, actually. Selena is my assistant. Her husband's a trucker. She used to do DOT compliance. So that was part of the team that I had recommended her. I do know her from outside of United Commercial Insurance, and she can literally do anything. That girl is amazing. Honestly, Brandon, the president of the company, provided everything that was needed. And the guy that had started to structure it, he had lots of ideas. And I tried to just roll with those punches and kind of put it all together and see what worked. And there was a whole lot of trash that went out to find the treasure, to find the unique fit where we could fit in and actually make it work. If without Brandon, it really wouldn't all exist, because I didn't know anything about trucking. But for me, I have loved the opportunity. We did kind of build the wheel, I guess. It is based off of what they previously had built, but the way it's marketed and the timing and what we do it was essentially, yes, I was a big part of that. And I too was like Natasha. She said we only do 2 years and plus in business, but it's actually anything if you've had a year, come at me. I can probably save you some money, and I'm going to try for sure. There's more markets than just Progressive for starting out. That's kind of a hidden feature, because you got to find the right agent, because not all the agents have the same markets. But we can talk about that a little bit later down the road. There's better markets out there, in my opinion, that have more coverages. But about building it, yeah, it took a team. At the beginning, I was that team. I was the customer service rep, the assistant, and the agent, and the person sending the certificates. I wasn't doing it from a parking lot, but still to this day, if I hop on, my emails on my phone shouldn't be, I've got our chat on my phone, probably shouldn't be, but I have my heart's in it, and my office is right here on my property. So it does make it pretty easy for me to step in, and then my lovely wife.
We definitely have a
brings
hard
me a drink.
time with work-life balance.
Work-life balance, yeah, it doesn't exist so much. It tries to, but my heart's too much in it for the truckers, and that's where it really lies for me. Is I'm going to try to help everybody. Sometimes it's a killer when I can't, but sorry if I wasn't supposed to say that on YouTube. It can be a kicker. So I don't know. That's how it was built. It's kind of morphed over time, and Natasha was a great addition. It became too much for one agent. We've got, we both have assistants. We've got customer service reps in the office that help.
Michael,
Mike
a shout out.
Yeah, I am going to shout out Mike and Kaylee. I couldn't do it without the whole team, honestly, and without the structure that Brandon set forth. It's been amazing opportunity, and it's been really awesome how the president of a company that's been in business for so long has his structure built, and he really does give us free reign on how we want to structure this department, because we're the existing ventures department, and he's really given us kind of free reign on how we want to do that and generate, our leads or whatever, and gives us the tools to where we don't have to come up with it all by ourselves, but we do hop on shows with you guys like you, talk insurance, because we're kind of moving into that other piece, I guess, in the structure.
Man, I love it. I love all that. 2 things before we move on. Brandon, I just want you to remember everything she said. Come on for employee reviews and incentives and raises. Let's make sure that we do that. And I don't know who was the one commenting on YouTube, but I like their engagement. I love them. I can tell.
Brandon.
We need to have them on too. Like I like whoever that is. Like if they haven't, it's good stuff. Steve, we'll get her started on Great West here shortly. But,
Steve, it's a sad day.
we'll hook you up with Jessica and Natasha, brother, through email, and y'all can discuss that. Steve Talamo and his brother Brian, very, very good friends with ours. We actually work with them in a space with IT and stuff, and yeah, just fantastic people. So we'll hook you up with them, Steve. And I don't know who Solana Brothers is, but I'm sure she's
Selena, and that's the assistant I was telling you about. She came from compliance. Her husband's a truck driver. She's great. She's amazing, actually. That girl can do some things that I just don't know.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on, Brandon, if that's you. And there you go. So, This one question. I know you've talked a lot about trucks, and we don't have to deep dive into it, but just more, I guess, for plug reasons. Do y'all deal with like broker insurance as well?
Oh, we have specialty lines agents in the office that do that. Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to shout out to Katie, which has been amazing. A big part of my sanity here at United Commercial Insurance, especially when I started. She's a great cheerleader. She's an amazing agent, though. And yes, she does broker insurance. And I'm happy to get her contact info over to you, to where I know that, there's probably some brokers on here that would need that. And I have her contact info, a picture of her card and her email and phone number. Annalise is another agent in our office that is also doing that. So yes, we have those two agents in our office that's all they do. They do broker bonds and small business that doesn't have a DOT.
Too.
Yes.
Oh, that's sweet. Nice, man.
Anything without a DOT.
That's kind of a hard thing to find, though. Like an insurance agent that does both bonding and insurance. I only ran across it maybe once or twice. All right, getting getting started on our deep dive into this. I'll ask this question, Tim. I know you're going to have one next, or have one probably already, and then we'll move on to you. Hunter, is that okay? Because Tim's going to geek out.
No, for sure, man.
All right, so one of the reason that I got interested in insurance is because in this industry, I did not know how intensive and expanding or expansive, intriguing. I don't know any words you can use that this thing is. There's a lot of different coverages. So, what is your suggestion when it comes to carriers on the coverages that they really need? Because you mentioned earlier about people being underinsured and not having what they need. So let's start there.
You looked ready,
And
Jessica.
And go. I was like, well, he was talking to him, so I got distracted. I was asking for Katie's card because I couldn't find it in my quick link files. So I guess just a lot of the times, and I know this is going to touch on some stuff that Tim, I think, probably will have some questions on, or you guys as brokers. One of the biggest questions that we get is, what are the exclusions? And I don't know that it's necessarily underinsured, but I guess in a sense it is, because any flatbed hauler is going to be able to move a lot more freight with Great West without all the exclusions for water damage and unattended, loads, or in transit for more than 72 hours. They cover all that. And so that's a big factor for me. That's a pushing point for, I guess, a pain point for a lot. And it is a point that I kind of try to stress to carriers, because I do care that their business is covered, because the last thing that I want to hear is, hey, they couldn't get that load, or they're not making money, or somebody won't accept my insurance. On one hand, and on another hand is, hey, I had this claim and I wasn't covered. I take personal responsibility over that as the agent. That for me, that's personal. And I'm sure it is for Natasha as well, that's a personal thing that we strive to fulfill all the needs. And so unless they were aware of that before they bound the policy or purchased the policy, and they made that educated decision, that's not a fair shake when you're finding out when it's going to hurt the most.
All right, let me dial this in. I love what you said about the exclusions. I'm semi-aware of that, Tim. I know you probably know exactly what she's talking about. But so here's dial it in. Is it, hey, get the standard 1 million cargo, just get the basic stuff, or do you expand it? Hey, I recommend maybe you get E&O, you get reefer breakdown, maybe this, maybe that. Like, I know it's situational, but where do you start when it comes to carriers?
First questions I ask is, where are you at? Where are you going? What are you hauling? And what do you want to haul? Because there's, this is what I do. This is where I go. And this is all I want to do. Okay, well, then that's a whole different ball game. It's a lot of different things, different markets we can submit to. And they're not going to have a lot of wiggle room. Then there's guys that, well, I'd like to have the option of UIA or hazmat, but right now I'm a flatbed hauler. Is there a market that allows for all that? Yes, I have this option over here that can do that. So it's really getting to know the customer and what best fits their business for me. Yeah, cargo is you're right. There's, we always care about uninsured and underinsured because those are coverages that can save you in the case that somebody isn't carrying insurance that they're supposed to. Cargo, definitely you want it to cover all the things that you're needing. Reefer breakdown is, I really specialize. 90% of my book of business is Great West, and there's a reason why. It's because my family's in trucking. I know that they've got you covered. I know they have your back, and I know that there's like 4 exclusions. There's not a lot that's excluded, and they're going to cover you for almost everything under the sun, as long as we have it written right. And so that's where it lies in my hands to make sure it's written right.
So I think if you're looking kind of like for coverage limits, we're pretty much going to start off with $1 million liability. There's not too many clients that I have that can get by without $1 million unless they're doing private contracts or they're exempt doing like farm hauling type stuff. So we're typically going to start out with $1 million, 100,000 in cargo, and then reefer breakdowns. We're going to add, obviously if you have a reefer trailer, you haul reefer, we're going to want that to be there as well. And then depending on whether you're power only or not, we may have trailer interchange or non-owned trailer physical damage. Higher cargo limits have been coming up pretty frequently for me. Traditionally, I've always done 100,000, but we're starting to get requests for 200, 250, especially for mobile equipment haulers and things like that. And then if you're with Amazon, we've got to hit those Amazon requirements. Same thing with the UIIA. And so we'll also ask, do you have any contracts or can you send over a sample certificate? I feel like the bigger the place your contracts with, the more insurance they want you to have. So that's where you'll start to see, hey, you've got to have workers' comp. That's a big one for the auto haulers because they're more involved with the loading and unloading of the freight, in my opinion. Would you agree with that, Jessica?
Yeah.
And then if you're doing hazmat, you'll get into, hey, we need some excess liability on top of that general liability or umbrella. Jessica's been shopping for those a lot lately. They're a little bit harder to get sometimes. But your standard is going to be $1 million, 100,000 in cargo, and then physical damage if you need it. And then we'd go up from there depending on whether you have trailers or not and what your contracts are.
Nice. I got something I'm going to ask you to expand on here in a bit, but I want to give Tim. Tim, do you have a question lined up by chance you want to knock out with these ladies?
Sure. Yeah. The exclusion thing. So my background, I dabbled for a very short time in commercial insurance, and I was the person who did certificates and things like that. That's how I got first exposed. So I'm in the freight fraud fighting business. So it all started with being exposed to double brokers through on the insurance side. So that's kind of why most of my posts from the Banner Report are insurance related, because I kind of have a spot there that I want to just dig at for a while. But the exclusions was one of those things that I always found that that is one of those things that claims got denied for left and right. I know you said Great West, and I've heard nothing but great things about them. Obviously, you guys love them. You've mentioned them more than a couple of times. They're obviously working out really good for you. Maybe they're a little sponsor for you. That'd be awesome too. But
we wish.
Right? But the exclusion part of it, I think that's something that a lot of brokers trouble with. They find that out when
After
it's
the fact.
after the fact. When a claim's been submitted, and they say, yeah, we cover electronics, but that doesn't include solar panels or something like that. So there's things like that. My question on the exclusion part, when a broker needs to find out what exclusions are, is that something that they can request from you as the insurance producer, a list of the exclusions for that carrier?
Yes, they can. So we typically reach out to the insurer to make sure it's okay to release the documents. I get that a lot from King of Freight. I have no relation to them, but they typically want the full policy packet so that they can look at the entire thing, all the cargo exclusions and things like that. And so it's interesting from carrier to carrier, because as things aren't mailed out, like they're not mailing you a 100-page policy packet anymore. You're getting minimum documents via email. Some of it's going in the mail. And so I do agree that sometimes if I get get called in to help somebody with a claim, because we don't do claims processing, but the customer will reach out and say, can you call claims, see what's going on? It's usually because it's something that was excluded and none of us had any idea until we really dig into that. And then you pull a product guide and got to control F in there and try to find what's actually excluded. And it's a big letdown, especially for the customer if it's a cargo claim in particular. And then depending on what they've got for the deductible. And also if they factored it, it can get a lot more interesting as well, because they may have already been paid and now the factoring company is trying to pull that back because the insurance company's not going to cover the cargo claim.
Sure.
I will say on those exclusions, one person that y'all mentioned earlier is the bane of every freight broker's existence. The bane. I do not like them so much that even though my company accepts them, I do not. Like, I don't give a shit if it's a $1,500 win. I am not taking you if you were insured by that individual. And I've also had some other instances with exclusions on reefer freight and some dry food grade product. A lot of these carriers, like you said, Jessica, it's about asking the right questions. What is your business model as a driver, as a carrier? Where are you now? Where are you trying to go? Let's set you up properly. And a lot of agents, I don't think they do that thoroughly. I think to them, it's just, hey, I see this residual every month. I really don't give a shit. I just want to get them their policy written and get them out the door. And I think those exclusion deals, they hurt a lot of people in this. They hurt the carrier, they hurt the broker, they hurt the shipper. I mean, you who knows? You could even say it hurts the consumer because that product obviously was damaged and it's not being paid for, and there's no way to recoup it, and that doesn't make it to the end consumer. So, that's something I really haven't thought about, was those exclusions. That's really, really a big deal. I want to go to this comment from Mr. Steve here. Is there a difference in a policy you write and a service account? I get a lot of stuff from my agent that it is just a service contract with them and that I have to go to Great West Direct. Steve, correct me if you're wrong. I think you're basically asking is, hey, will Jessica and Natasha help you with this, dealing with whatever issue you need, or do they force you to go deal with your insurance provider directly? I believe that's what he's saying. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. He said service center account is the phrase that they use, ladies.
So I can touch on that a little bit. We don't, at United Commercial Insurance, Great West is just one of the many carriers we have. Great West does offer the service center for,
it's for select agencies, I believe. It's new
I
and
think
they're
we
testing
can buy
it out.
in. Yeah, I think we can buy into it if we want to, and they can do our certificates and basically customer service for that account. And all we do is sell the account. Is to my understanding. Now, I could be corrected. There may be pieces missing on that. They do very picky about who they partner with as agents. But we don't use the service center. We actually service all of our own policies. Well, United Commercial Insurance services all of our own policies. We have customer service reps, and actually Natasha and I have very specific customer service reps. And, actually I kind of want to retract a little bit, because at United Commercial Insurance, we're so much a team. And I know I've talked about a couple separate departments, but we do have ladies that specialize in new venture trucking, and they have the option of Great West. That is very rare that people know that. Everybody thinks they have to go to Progressive or Berkshire Hathaway. They just started. That's like kind of your beginning point. Not the case. We've got agents that can help with that. But we very much pride ourselves. We have May here. She's a customer service rep. Kaylee is also a customer service rep, and we have Mike. And those three literally help bind our company together in such a huge whole. And the agents all have a part in our own service as well. Somebody calls me, I pick up the phone. I don't care if I know it's a current customer or if it's somebody that's wanting to talk to me and ask a question. Either way, I'm going to answer your call. Unless I'm on the other line, but I'm on my phone, I'm going to call back.
We call back missed numbers too.
Yes, we do. You don't got to leave a message. I will call you back if I miss your call.
So, but before we go on, Steve, please let us know when you switch over to United Commercial so we can get with Brandon. We get with fucking Brandon and get our referral fee. Okay.
We can chat about that. I think that's actually a good topic to chat about, but it might not be on camera. But we can talk about that.
Yeah. We will. But Steve actually does business with our sponsor, Shoreline Capital. They've been on the show, and Steve saw him, and he switched over. So just so you know, very very good likelihood that you'll get some business from being a part of what we call the collective. So yeah, there you go with that. Hunter, do you have something, man? You've been quiet, my friend. Do you have something?
I've just been listening. I really don't know a whole lot about it, so it's just one of those shows. Once again, just kind of taking it in and learning.
I'll go again if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
You ladies, you insure all 48 states?
45 of the lower 48.
Okay.
There's some states that are very specific requirements that you have to live in that state or have an office in that state to write in that state, I believe. Brandon's a better person to answer that question, if I'm being honest. He's the guy that handles all that. He's the mastermind behind United Commercial Insurance. So him and Jamie, they handle all that stuff primarily. So, but I know that any state that we're not licensed in, they're working on it. Any market we don't have, they're working on it.
45 is pretty solid. Do you find, I know you said you don't have to use Progressive when you're starting out, but is that I've kind of found that Progressive actually was, in some cases, like here in Nevada, not the best, but Pahrump, which is not far from here, Progressive was kind of like the best game in town from a pricing point for truckers for insurance. It's kind of way out in the middle of nowhere, but
I know where Pahrump is. I'm from, I've been there. It's a little teeny tiny town. But yeah, those, I think that's going to be the case no matter what state you're in. When you're outside of a major metro area, it's going to be a sweeter spot on the pocketbook. But as far as, they might have the better pricing to begin with. That's why, moving in after that first year, though, it depends on how many years of experience the driver has on their CDL.
Right.
Depends on what they're driving. If it's a box truck or a hot shot account, we're kind of narrowed down on our options in the new venture side. We've got some new venture ladies in the office that are great at answering all those questions, though. So, Natasha might be better. I have only worked with primarily, I have some new venture accounts, but primarily those are all referrals to me is why I have them. And I do the existing ventures trucking. It's to dial it in.
Cool.
Yeah, that new those new carriers, they can be a struggle. I had some experience with that with a couple of people I've helped try to get or have helped get their trucking off the ground. And, that stuff goes a lot. It's not just about the company. It's about the drivers. He had a driver that the guy had tickets in his personal vehicle and it affected their insurance policy as a commercial, on a commercial level. And they had to start out with those people that I don't want to say, because I know you guys do business with them, so I'm not trying to in conjunction with something probable negative after that. But and it was crazy, man. The rates were just astronomical. They were over $2,000 a month, but they were also a new entrant. They had been in business for just three months or whatever, and it was what it was. But they ended up moving to another company who got them with Coverwell. That's who it was, and they got them. They got them down to like $1,700 a month. I like that reaction you gave.
We rolled our eyes. I want to know
That's
about
what the truck drivers' faces look like when you introduce yourself as an insurance agent at Matt's.
Yes.
We dabbled into Coverwell for a little while. I think it was and so the other company, so a new venture to everyone, I'm sure on your side too, is you can't look back at their data and say, hey, where have you been? What have you done? How do you run that truck? are there any inspections here that look like you may not do pre-trip inspections and maintain the vehicle regularly? And so they're a big wild card to the insurance company. And so they've got to be able to put a price on that, of course, which is always fun. Here comes Brandon with the cover whale.
Yeah.
And Coverwell was pretty good for a while. Me personally, and I think Jessica too, we'd prefer to write a policy with a company where we've got a direct bill plan and we don't have to finance that and add extra finance fees and add another couple people in the mix. So if I can go directly to the company or the underwriter or the billing department, it's a lot easier to get things done for you than if we've written it through a third party financed it as well. Things just move a little bit slower. And so if we do write those kind of policies, I just tell people what to expect. Like, hey, a change might take 2 or 3 days, and it might take 30 to 45 days before you actually see that change reflected in your bill plan. But I know how people feel about Progressive, and I've loved them. I wouldn't be here right now talking to you without them. Like I mentioned, they took a chance on my dad and I. We were working out of the basement selling car insurance, and they didn't think that we could generate a lead online, which he figured out how to do that. And so I've written a lot of business. I'd say up until 2 years ago, about 98% of what I wrote was with them. I didn't have any real issues, but the prices have gone up significantly, whether you're and that's across the board pretty much. But I haven't really had any major issues with them. And I kind of was thinking about the other day, it kind of correlates a lot of the people I'm talking to on the phone. If you look back at their insurance history, wouldn't be talking to me either, most likely, if it wasn't for Progressive, because they are, for the first couple of years, willing to take that chance on the unknown. So even if we get a great price the first year, you've got to run that business appropriately so that we can hope to get better pricing the second year and the third year. And so we've kind of also on the new venture side focused a little bit more on, hey, here's what's going to happen. Those DOT violations, they are not recommendations. I do hear that a lot. That was a suggestion. That was not a violation. And so they were most definitely violations that do hurt at renewal time, even if you haven't had any losses.
That was a warning. Yeah, that warning
Yeah.
counts.
I want to say this first. Well, two things. Steve, if you're still watching, please comment. We have a question from CEO, correct? Or
President.
Brandon? President. We have a question for you directly from the president of United. Steve, let us know if you're still watching. Second, I just want to say, Natasha and Jessica, I don't know what y'all were so afraid of. You ladies are doing phenomenal. Like just ba 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 spitting it off. So I just want to
Thanks.
say, I know y'all were, a little pulled back on it. A lot of people are, but you're doing freaking phenomenal. Like I absolutely love it. And I'll I'll tell you, Natasha, that my stance and a lot of broker stances on Progressive is really just with their claims.
I know.
It really is because and also carriers, because I dealt with a Progressive claim, and you know who ended up paying that shit? The carrier did, because it was irrefutable proof that it was their fault, and it was still denied, and the carrier ended up paying that. It was 10 grand, something like that, for a partial destruction of a load. And I mean, it's like, dude, like, even, and I felt sorry for that carrier. Like, man, they told me, he's like, dude, this will
That can
put
put
me
them out of business. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, this will put me out of business. And we were accommodating. We said, hey, look, I got with my customer, said, hey, this is the situation. Like, we want to do this person right. They admitted fault, but we need to take care of them too. And we set up a payment plan, and they did. They abided by it. They paid it off, and they were grateful for that. And I was glad we were able to do that for them. And I'll say this: I'm just a staunch believer in you get what you fucking pay for in everything. And I'll use myself as an example. I have insurance. All of my insurance, my car, my home, everything is through USAA, because I'm a veteran.
Same.
And I'll tell you, is USAA a little more expensive? Yeah, they are. But I can tell you this: I've never had a problem with them. Not once in any claim. I don't even.
No, I'm going through a claim right now, and I'm like, I'm rethinking this, even though I can't beat their price anywhere. They're a little bit interesting to deal with on the claim side.
Well, I mean, for me, like for me personally, all I do is submit stuff, and that's it. They do everything,
Yeah.
everything. and either I get a check or the one time it's been my fault, they just take care of it. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I even had my sound system stolen out of one of my cars about 10 years ago, and USAA paid not only for the system but for the professional installation of said
Oh,
system.
wow.
So but again, I pay more because they're great. They're fantastic. They give you no problems and they take care of their people. And so, to back up, just when it comes to things like, you know,
The
Progressive
claim.
and Lloyd's of London, some of those, man, you
Oh,
you
yeah.
get what you pay for, man. You get what you pay for. I'd rather pay the extra money for someone. We'll say Great West because, like Tim said, apparently you guys are a big backer of them, and that's great. And so, I'd rather pay the extra for something like that, and make sure that I'm properly covered.
You know what it is it's not just it's with Great West. They're not the highest price. Actually, their prices beat out everybody else very often. It's that their coverage is real. Like, I know that what I'm selling to somebody truly protects their business and is truly going to cover those claims, and is truly going to, like, they can move the freight that they need to move. And having that trust is the biggest part for me as the agent. I'm trying to, I don't want to sell something to somebody that they can't use.
Yeah, I agree. Jessica, I would ask this question, but I want you to ask it since Brandon directly sent it to you. Steve is still watching, so
Yeah.
go ahead, fire away.
Yeah, Steve. So the service center is new. It's with Great West, and it sounds like it's in testing with select agencies, and it's been experiencing a number of issues. Not available to everyone yet. We do our own service at United Commercial Insurance, anyways. But Brandon did want to ask Steve, do you like the service center? He would be curious to find out what your experience has been.
Steve, just hop on.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not on here.
Just send him a damn link right now. Send him a link. Forget all this back and forth. Like he said,
Oh.
there you go. No.
Yeah, that's why I like us at the office, is because, and even when it was my dad and I, we are all like, I'm in North Carolina, she's in Texas, we've got people in Washington and Idaho, people working remote in Idaho. And we can all pick that up and be on the same page. The notes are there because we've got kind of dedicated customer service reps. They get to know you about as well as we've already gotten to know you. And so you're comfortable for them to make a change for you if we're not available or we're out of the office. And so that's one of the things I love about the team approach that we have there, because it's not a team approach that I had experienced before in my career, even when I worked in other places, because there was always this weird competitiveness in sales, no matter what I was doing. And I feel like here we're all just kind of working together towards common goals. And anyone can pick up an account and say, hey, I can take care of this. I know exactly where she left off or he left off, things like that, and get it done in a timely manner. I can't speak for the service center. I mean, I call Great West to do things and it gets done. But I can't speak for the service center servicing with them.
Before I mention that comment, do not take this serious. I'm just putting it on here because
If you're hauling them, listen, if you're hauling them in a trailer, we can do it.
Yeah,
all
most
right.
times.
This guy hauls fighter jets. Okay, I don't know what kind of insurance that you have to
I
haul.
love seeing that
I
stuff.
am pretty sure Great West does that because they do a lot of military contracts. So
He did. He was live on the show and had the fuselage of a fighter jet on the back of his open deck. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Natasha, I want to touch actually on what you just said, but also what Jessica has reinforced is, when I pay someone for something like insurance, something, I expect you to do it. Like I expect, just like me as a broker, my customer hires me and they expect me to do everything. Find the truck, track the truck, send the paperwork, collect the BOL, do the invoicing, cover the, do the insurance stuff, blah, 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 blah. And, that's the way I feel, man. If I pay you for a service, unless it's upfront said, hey, we don't do this, that, or the third, I expect you to do it. Like if I have an issue, I shouldn't have to call 3 other people to get it done. I should be able to call you, Natasha, or you, Jessica, and say, here's my problem. Please help me fix it. and you handle that because we all know we all have things going on. Life is busy, business is busy. Things like insurance claims and all these other type deals. They take time. And um, crap, I forgot something. Before I do forget this, Brandon, I know you're still watching. We had a request from Miss Claudia Catlett, and she would like you to bring, or like if y'all could provide us with someone who does claims at your company to come on, and she would like to come on because she works for a carrier and she deals with claims and stuff. Very, very intelligent lady. When it comes to insurance and everything else, she's been on the show several times. She's a Marine veteran, just an awesome individual. So, Brandon, if you could, possibly make that happen for us too, we'd absolutely love to do a part 2 with United. Steve, my brother from another mother. What's up, man?
What's going on? It has been a hell of a week.
It's only Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday. And the week doesn't stop for truckers on Friday. Brandon's on it.
So to answer your question, I hate the service contract. That's why I asked the question earlier, like, can I request a different agent? Because I feel like my agent is just like a fake person. Like, I don't feel like they do anything. Because anytime I ask them something, they say, well, you're a service. Their actual thing, it's always you're a service center account. You have to call Great West Direct. Like, I don't feel it's the weirdest thing. But yet, if I request the COI, like, they will send it and Great West will send it. Like, everything comes in duplicate. It's when I get my policy renewed, like I just had it renewed in February, like I get the whole packet from Great West and then I turn around and get the whole packet again from the agent, the registered agent. So to answer your question, no, I do not like it. And I'd rather just have like one contact person that I could speak to. So that's why I was curious if I could request a new agent.
Will you tell the ladies exactly where you fit in the carrier side as well?
Where I fit in?
What you do? Sorry, brother. What you do? Where your place in the carrier? Hey, listen. You have to understand. You understand brain, okay? Brain have brain injuries, okay? Just stick with us here.
I know. I hear that from IT all the time. I started my logistics company in January of 2022. Great West was the first company we went with. So, but we've had to start off slow because they had like the first year we could only have one truck. The second year we could have 2 trucks, but it had to be a truck that was company owned by us. And then after 3 years now we can add people to our authority and add as many trucks as we want. So we've kind of followed the rules along. But it was kind of crazy too because we had a huge increase this year. But yet we had absolutely 0 claims. Our 2 drivers stayed the exact same and their driving records didn't change. But for our 2 trucks, it went up like 10 grand this year.
Wow.
To elaborate, Steve, or to elaborate for Steve, he is in the Dre part of the industry. That's where his big part.
Should have been suspicious. We should have, the question. I didn't know what you wanted to talk about.
It's funny.
But yes, I am an intermodal.
You say drayage, and I'm like, what's that? Oh, UIA. I know what that is.
Yeah, UIA.
Drayage? I have no idea what that is. I just learned that term actually in the last 6 months. I was like, what does that even mean? I write UIA.
Lots of interchangeable terms.
Yeah.
We start getting on Dre and Freight Hound will finally have some stuff to say because that is
the only time when Hunter and I get good conversations when we start talking about Dre.
Oh yeah.
I know you do. Hunter geeks the fuck out on some drayage, man. He loves that stuff.
Can I ask a quick question? Steve, so you, like, your certificate of insurance requests, they get sent to the gwccnet.com or whatever it is for Great West?
Yep.
And now you ladies, you have your own email address and your clients can email, or your brokers can email you directly for your insured COI. What's the difference? Why are you paying a little more to have you directly versus having to go to Great West to get their certificates?
What's crazy is I actually have one for my agent as well. So it's like, that's where I'm confused as to, is it the, that's why I asked that question, because is it the agent that's just being lazy and wants to send me to Great West? Like, that's why I was confused. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt to answer that question,
No,
but I actually have one for both of them. So it's kind of weird.
So I love this topic, so I'm going to kind of steal the show on this one.
We're big on
Natasha.
certificates.
Certificates is my favorite because we have a great setup at United Commercial Insurance. We have a lot of different opportunities for the carriers, our customers, to access those. Of course, you can email it to myself or Natasha. We have actually a few different emails to get those, and they're pretty direct depending on departments because we've kind of got our customer service reps split up to even out that workload a little bit. But it gets done within 15 minutes. Or we also have online where our customers can log in online and issue those out themselves. And we also have an app on the Apple and Android app stores where it's fancy and you get to go certificate, click here, send it to this guy. Here's the email. The key to that, and I know you guys are brokers, so here's the coming question, and the fraud department over here. So I'm going to answer your questions. The coverages can't be changed by the carrier in any way unless it's gone through the agent. It can only be like that part of the portal is accessed by our office, and we set those coverages in there, and they can't be changed. It can't be altered in any way, but it does issue out directly from us as the agency.
Yeah, all you can do is add a certificate holder.
So you mean like you can't do like a Progressive customer can just log on and add a truck on one day and take it off the next day?
No.
So they can log into their own portal and add a truck and remove it the next day. And so we have an agency management system that updates, they download the changes every morning so that certificate portal on our end is up to date, even if we did not process the change on that. With a lot of the other carriers, we're going to have to process those changes for you regardless, and then that automatically updates the portal. But Progressive is one in particular where they can log in and add or remove trucks without providing any documents like they'd have to give us. And so
Progressive's the only one.
We're lucky that it downloads and it keeps it up to date, but they can't add or remove trucks from the certificate portal themselves. All they could do is add a certificate holder. If they've got to be additional insured or need waivers, anything like that, they're going to have to come back to the office, get those changes processed, and then we'd issue out an updated certificate.
Well, you're really missing out on insuring all those double brokers by not offering that.
So I know what double brokering is. I just don't understand how everybody how it all gets done. I mean, I know what the idea of it is.
Please tell us, educate us.
If people call and ask us how we could help them, they accidentally booked a brokered load, and I'm like, I have no idea how to help you.
I'm going to let Tim take that one because this is his thing. But I want to say, if we had an insurance mic drop, we could have dropped it right there when Jessica talked. Like she said, we got Apple, we got Google. You can sign up 24/7. You cannot change anything. There is no fraud that's going to go on here. Like, boom. I'm telling you, Brandon, I know you're still watching, man. I'm going to make so many good plugs. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shorts that I'm going to do with these two amazing ladies here. We're going to bring you so much business. It's unreal. Tim, before I hand over the DB thing to you, my brother, Jessica, Tasha, just so you know, DB is our little slang for double broker. It's just so if you ever see DB, that's what everyone's referring to. I'm not trying to give anyone else a plug here, but this is what a redneck trucker said. He used it. Redneck, unless you're really happy with them, if you're not, we have an insurance company that we recommend, man. We have
Arch. We have Arch.
We have access to Arch. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we have
that's
access
primarily
to Arch.
hazmat.
Sometimes they've got some good rates in other areas too, but I'm going to tell you, here's another thing, and just to side note here, Arch is a process, and the general underwriting agency that we have to go through takes a lot of time in that process. And I'll kind of leave it at that. So when it's 3 months and you haven't heard from don't have an answer from your agent, it's not always your agent's fault.
Yeah.
That's all I'll
I do
say.
tell people that all the time. Like they're like, I'm waiting. I'm like, well, in their defense, if they submitted it here, here, or here, they're going to be waiting just like I'd be waiting if I submitted it now.
Mhm.
And so
Stephen,
sometimes it's a lot of hurry up and wait unless we can quote it ourselves directly.
there you go, Stephen. Stephen, there you go, man. You know, if you're having any issues with them specifically, you know, unless you're extremely happy with your agent, then you know, we recommend that you call these two fine ladies. Tim,
Hold on,
the double
Pedro.
broker
I got
thing.
one quick
Go ahead.
question before we
Go
get
ahead, bro.
into DB. So, when COIs renew at the beginning, when you renew your policy at the beginning of the year, is it automatic to where it'll go in and reissue all the current ones you have and send them to you?
We have a human that does that.
Because that's the other thing with the service contract is like I get some of them from my agent, I get some of them from Great West, some of them are duplicates, and about half of them I don't get, and then I have to go request them. And it's funny because the ones that I don't seem to get are the ones I need. The most importantly, the ones that like there was some of them they send me when I renew that I don't even remember doing business with these brokers because it was maybe something I did like once when somebody requested it. But I was just curious if like that's if they all should auto kind of
Some
come
of
to me.
those automatics are going to be additional insureds or lost payees and things like that you may have added and maybe only hauled once or twice with. And they don't really charge fees for the additional insured depending on the requirements. So I have noticed those go out with the renewal packet. Go ahead, Jessica. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, I was just going to say that we have a human that does that. His name's Mike. He's really great, actually. And it has when we renew a policy, he goes in and reissues all prior COIs that were sent the previous year.
I like Mike.
Yeah, we
I
try
like
to get
Mike
ahead
too.
of that.
We all like Mike. He definitely is a great guy and does a lot of hard work. So
I'm telling you, hey, Hunter, I am feeling this referral fee just more and more. You know what I mean? I'm telling you. Steve, but dude,
I don't have to pay it low. I mean, I'm just I just use all your
by the end of the year, Steve is going to solely do business with guests on
everybody.
the lounge.
I just ordered. I'm about to order 2 Spill Buddy kits.
Dude, oh, did you? Hey, are you doing it from our site?
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
think I know the guy that created it.
You know what? That guy, he's something special. Tell you what, and I mean that in more ways than one. No, we love IT Brian. You know, man, we love you, Brian. If you're watching, all right, Tim, dude, get into it. Natasha, this exactly what you asked is how Tim got in to this deal on the insurance side. Take it away, Mr. Bannon.
So when we talked about, I was doing COIs, so that's kind of how I got introduced to double brokering, and that's how my the part of the fight that I joined was on the insurance side. And we have questions asked all the time, and they seem to come up quite often. Like we talked about the exclusions. There's other. Well, let's back up. You said you had a carrier call you and tell you that they got double brokered. What should they do? They called you about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I'm not afraid to say I don't know, but I can
Oh,
try
it's
to
fine.
find out. I say that a lot actually. And so he's just like, I don't know. Am I supposed to do anything? What can I do? I think they didn't get paid, and that was the issue. So
Yeah.
what can I do? And I'm like, all I know is to go, pull their profile on Safer, see who that insurance company is for the bond, and try to put a claim in there. And I guess you have to hope that they paid for the bond or they didn't bounce the down payment for the bond, as we've had a scenario like that in the office as well, where they didn't even use their own checking account to start the bond, and so it the payment bounced. It gets a little. Bonds are not my specialty for sure. So the payments on that works a little differently, but I didn't know how to help them. I mean, I called the carrier and they didn't know what do you want us, what do you want us to do essentially? And so I don't really know how to help them if they are a victim of the double brokering.
Tim,
Yeah.
in addition to answering her question, also just to give them some insight and educate them and maybe even Brandon or other people watching with United that how does the DB scamming take place when it comes to the COIs and the coverages?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's go back to basics, and I'm really good at the basics. What we get into now, we're talking about these days the theft and the stolen identities, and people ask me what happens when it happens to them. I said, I have no idea. You catch it before you tender them a load before it happens. But in the basics of double brokering is a broker has a load. He gives to a bad carrier who a double broker who has no intentions of sending his own insured vehicle in to pick it up, and they hand it off to another broker who rebrokers it. And most of this is done on the load boards, and it happens. I couldn't even guess how many times it happens per day, but it's huge enough that it's an ongoing conversation everywhere on every platform. And there are vetting platforms that try to combat this problem. But the good broker gives it to a bad carrier, and who hands it off to a bad broker who sends it off to a good carrier, hopefully. And those
And
two
what's the point?
those two bad guys in the middle, they take a little cut. So if the broker
I gotcha. Okay.
got the load for $1,500, then the bad guy is posted for $1,200 and they pocket $300. And when that was all it was, people weren't so stressed out about it. Yeah, they're taking a hit, but their shit's getting delivered and everything was fine. But
Right.
it's gone so much worse since that. But that's still, the basics of it. Now on the COI side, so here's back to my first experience with double brokering. I was working for an insurance agency, and there were or are, and I don't work there anymore, so I can talk about that a little bit. They were or are double broker friendly. When I was doing certificates, I worked there for 4 months just doing certificates all day long and answering phones and doing customer service because I'm so charming. They would. I got an email from a broker who wanted to confirm the VINs on an insurance policy, and he said, "Can you confirm there's 4 VINs?" I said, "No, there's 1." He says, "I have a certificate with 4. You just sent it to me," and I said, "I didn't send it to you." So he sent it back to me, and this carrier had taken my company email address and made something very similar in a Gmail address. It's the same fraud you hear about with stolen identities. They'd stolen my identity, forged a certificate, and were sending that out to freight brokers like it was coming from their insurance agent. So you have the fraud on which makes everybody really nervous about, am I working with a legitimate insurance agent? How can I trust that they're giving me accurate information, or are they supporting the double broker fraud? And there are insurance agencies that support the fraud. And I know you guys don't because you're on LinkedIn, and fraud people don't come on LinkedIn.
Tim, tell them, I told Jessica, but I want Brandon to hear it. Tell them what you found about United when you searched your massive database for double.
I work in a different industry, but I work from home. And I don't work very hard. So I have a lot of time to do carrier vetting. So I spend hours a day just vetting carriers. And I have probably a little over 2,000 certificates of insurance in a folder on my computer. So when I saw you guys and I figured out which United you were, I typed in that search, and I had two popped up, and I checked them against my DNU list, and they weren't on there. So for whatever reason, I saved their certificates because they came up maybe in association, or they maybe had a VIN number that a double broker had used before, but I didn't find anything. I didn't find squat. I was really trying to find a double broker that I could come on here and hit you guys with. And I'm on the hunt for one because I believe every insurance agency, good or bad, somebody's going to get in there who's going to do something bad, or there's going to be a bad apple that gets in there, and it happens to the best. So I have plenty of double broker certificates with Great West as the insurer, so they're not clear either, but everybody has them. There's no.
I do know that there was one instance where someone had, Selena, she's like, woohoo. We did have an instance where someone had sent a certificate that was sent out of the office, and they had downloaded and typed some extra stuff on there. And it came back to the office. They weren't given the load yet to verify because it didn't come from us. or the certificate requested that we sent did not match the certificate they sent. And they called in and we verified coverages, and that was in fact not reliable.
So
wasn't legit.
there you go. Ladies, Brandon, United is Bannon report approved.
Hey,
Love it. Yes.
I don't approve many people, but you guys are friendly, and now I like to meet people like you, because if it comes up, when it comes up, now I know. I just hop on LinkedIn. I'm like, hey, I got an MC. Here's a question. Let me know what you know, and we can figure it out before I go out and say something stupid on LinkedIn.
I love how trucking took off on LinkedIn. When I first got on there in like 07, it was just like really boring. And I just love how it took off on LinkedIn. It's really interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's a good platform for what I find, at least my circle of people. It's mostly brokers. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the actual carriers and truck drivers come on LinkedIn.
I have a couple on there.
They're
I tell them, I'm like, get on there. LinkedIn's popping.
Themselves. Hunter and I tell like all of our carrier friends that so carriers like to be on Facebook.
They're big on Facebook, yeah.
X and shit. And I'll tell you, here's the problem with that. All they're talking to is other misinformed fucking carriers. That's exactly what they're doing. They're talking to someone who talked to someone in a trucker's lounge and blase, 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 and they just repeat the same old rhetoric. LinkedIn is like the place to be in a lot of industries. I'm obviously only really focused on ours, but there is so much valuable information put on LinkedIn, and we'll use this screen right here is the power of LinkedIn, even though we met you two at Match. But look, Hunter and I are both brokers. Tim is formerly worked for an insurance person, does fraud and carrier vetting. Steve down here is a freaking carrier, and we have two insurance people. All of us who are on LinkedIn and are connected, and now we're able to share information and insights and educate and inform one another. And we all know nothing like this happens on Facebook.
Right.
I don't even go on Facebook anymore. I like LinkedIn.
All Facebook is used for is just complaining. Everybody wants to complain, but nobody wants to come up with a solution or listen to a solution or actually fix it. Or LinkedIn, you can come over here and actually get solutions and resolutions for stuff.
And you know why I think that is, Steve, just to sidetrack a little bit, is because of exactly what I said. It is very diverse on LinkedIn, and I've seen carriers post stuff and just go off. And dude, you have a whole comment section of people saying,
shut them down.
in nice terms, man, you're a moron. You know what I mean? Like you do not know what you're talking about. This is mostly wrong. And so like what they thought was for sure is completely obliterated, and then facts start spewing out. And we can all admit we all hate when we think we're right and someone proves us wrong. So I think that's a big reason why a lot of them don't come over there is because people aren't going to feed into the BS and just side with them on everything. I'm saying this because I run a Facebook group with 45,000 people in it. Most of them are drivers. Now that I'm saying it, Tasha, Jessica, I'll actually send you the link. You can join it, and I only say that because again, it's mostly carriers and brokers, so could be a good avenue for you guys. If you post as United, I will pre-approve you, so you can post without me having to approve your post or whatever. But I see it every day, every single day. Hey, Hunter. Matter of fact, guess who's in my Facebook group starting shit?
Who?
Richie.
Rich?
Yeah, Rich, bro. Rich is over there stirring the pot, man, messing with all these people. But so I see it every day, over there. People sharing misinformation and misleading and misguiding others, and just with nobody, in there correcting them and stuff. So yeah, just want to say a little bit. LinkedIn's a place if you're a carrier watching, Tasha, Natasha, Jessica, I hope you guys refer carriers to LinkedIn. I think it's just a really good informational place because there's a really good mix of folks on there,
I think that's one of the biggest downfalls or commonly asked, I guess, or struggles, I guess, as an agent. There's so many words that could fit into that. I was trying to be appropriate. Is, hey, well, I heard about this on YouTube, or hey, well, I heard about this on
The
Facebook,
Facebook
or
group. Oh my gosh.
somebody told me about, I need park insurance. And I was like, what the heck is park insurance? Park insurance doesn't exist. I don't know what park insurance is. I don't know who put that out there. It's a bad idea. You go on vacation. Unfortunately, your insurance bill is still due unless you want to cancel it. I don't know
Can't
what
park
else to
it.
say. You
I
can't just
pause it.
park it. You can't pause it. It's not a thing. He's laughing.
You can tell
I was
when somebody
expecting
puts
Dude, I
out
hear so much
somebody
stupid
puts out a
crap
video.
when you hear yeah. I'm gonna go away for 2 weeks. Can I just put my policy on hold and park it?
Do you want the MC to go to go inactive? No,
So,
not at all.
I'll tell you this, and I bet you I know where this comes from, and it's probably been long started, is someone who lives near a military base and served in the military. A lot of insurance companies for four-wheelers, cars, whatever, you guys know that terminology. If you deploy and you have to go and store your car, they will do what they call, I don't know the term, but it's like storage insurance. Basically, your premium drops a lot because you're not driving your vehicle; it's just parked, and they're just covering it for any type of damage that may happen. And I bet you that's where that came from. I guarantee you that it was something like that where that came from.
I'd love to say that that's the root of the people asking, but I could tell you that it's very much people trying to that are going out of country for a few months and then coming back, and they want park insurance, and I shouldn't have to pay for it while I'm gone. And it's like, you don't have to if you cancel it. I don't know. Put a driver in there.
Hey, I do have one question. I thought about it earlier, but I forgot. Now it just popped back into my head. How do you, as insurance agents, coverage providers, look at people who bounce from insurance to insurance? That is something we see a lot in this industry. Mostly, I give them it's to save money, but it also, and Tim, I think you can agree, it raises a huge freaking red flag when we see that your insurance company has changed several times. So, is that a common thing for you? How do y'all address that when coming to insure someone, a carrier?
And so I'm assuming you mean if you're looking at the L&I page on Safer and you see like 45 filings from Cover Whale or 25 from Berkshire where they've kind of canceled and replaced, or just switching carriers altogether.
Yeah, like
Both.
do y'all deal with that? Is that like a red flag to y'all saying, hey, this person's going to be with us for 6 friggin' months, and then they're going to skip town, and go with some other,
Right.
y'all. That's something y'all deal with a lot, or try to stay away from, or.
I definitely see it quite a bit. And so it's depending on the company. Some of them do those cancellations earlier, but typically that's an indication to me that the policy's gone into cancellation, most likely for non-payment. Maybe not. I mean, it could have been they didn't send in some underwriting documents. But like Berkshire Hathaway, if you miss that bill, the next day they're like, hey, we're issuing out this cancellation because they've got to give 35 days notice, and Berkshire wants to get ahead of it. Progressive will wait until the day it cancels, literally for non-payment, and then they'll post the 35 days notice, and you will continue to be billed during those 35 days. And so I feel like with Progressive, we get a lot more payment leniency, and some of those Cover Whale, to see Cover Whale a lot on their Everspan, like constantly just like 16 filings. I'm like, so when I see it, I'm like, hey, what's going on here? I don't know how Jessica feels, but I wouldn't say necessarily avoid them, but it can be an indication of payment problems, I guess, without being biased. That's what the first thing
100%.
my mind says.
100% what Natasha said. To me, it flags and says, am I going to have billing issues? Because that's something that, the companies I'm working with, I work really hard for you. And I guess that in turn is that trust, if you're going to if you can't pay your bill, call me, let me know, but don't just ghost or expect it to just me to fix it later. Cause that doesn't, right. I can't always fix it later. Definitely. It's usually a billing. Sometimes it's a name change. Sometimes they may have changed their address cause they actually moved. When it's going from company to company, sometimes, like you said, it's because they're looking for a better rate. Sometimes it's because they didn't pay their bill and now they've got to find a new insurance company.
So to bounce off that, in our personal lives, even in business, we have a credit report. It kind of trails your life of paying your bills and such on time. And gives your risk factor to other people. Is there such a thing in the insurance agency, which kind of shows what y'all are talking about? Like, man, this freaking Yahoo changes insurance every 3 months. Like their credit score is a 400 at this point, or their insurance credit score. You know what I mean? Like, Like, is there a thing with that? And do y'all call the previous insurer and say, hey, what was the issue here? Maybe.
I'd never call them because they're not going to give us information if we're not the agent of record. I'm trying to think how best to answer that. So all the insurance companies, no matter what product, as far as I'm aware, are using credit-based insurance scoring. I sold car insurance when they first launched that, and it was a real fun year. And so they believe behind the scenes with all the data and analytics that they're running that they can take certain credit factors, not necessarily your credit score, but certain factors in that, along with, like, when you get car insurance, they're like, hey, are you married? What's your highest level of education? What's your job? They're using that combined with the credit-based insurance score to determine the risk. And so certain people that have certain credit-based insurance score factors, or married, or levels of education, especially on the car insurance side, they believe they can predict what you're going to do or how you would behave in certain scenarios. On the trucking side, they're using the credit-based insurance score. We never see any of it. Like, we don't see a score or anything like that, but it does and can impact pricing. I've only really been able to determine what I think the level might be on a Progressive quote, not to go back to them, and how I can tell that is how much they want down. What percentage do they want down on this policy? And if it's super low, I'm like, hey, they've probably got a great credit-based insurance score. If they want 50% down and it's not Florida, I'm assuming that there's something in there that says we need 50% of this premium up front, which is always interesting. Hi, Claudia.
Hey, guys.
We are so lucky. Twice in less than a week.
You guys are in for it now.
Claudia. Ladies,
Let the party begin.
I know, right? For real, huh, Steve? This is the lady that Hunter, Tim, and myself are in a DM with that goes back so fucking long, we have no idea when it started. Claudia's the one that works on the carrier side, and Brandon, if you're still watching, she's the one that requested trying to have someone to come on about claims. And so Natasha, Jessica, Claudia, the connector,
Hey.
that term is solid. If you need to know anybody, Claudia will find them for you. Claudia, Natasha, Jessica with United.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Sorry,
Hi.
I popped on late. I was actually just going to watch, but I clicked the wrong button, so my bad. But hey, I didn't mean to interrupt. Where y'all at? What you doing?
We were talking about credit-based insurance scores and how that affects your rates, which is a big factor. And Natasha said it. Those things, those repeat filings posts, if it is billing issues, they can see that on the back end. Us as the agents don't get to see that at all, and it does affect rates. I'm going to go into a couple factors that affect rates. I'm going to talk about your FMCSA scores and how often
right now,
and how often you update your MCS 150. I recommend to all my customers that you update your MCS 150 at least once every 6 months, or anytime you make a change, add a driver, add a truck, remove a driver, remove a truck. Your mileage, is different because you're not going out as far, or you're going farther. Because in this lovely world of technology, a lot of the companies are using almost AI driven, data driven stuff, and a lot of that is pulled from. On the carrier side, they pull all that data off of your FMCSA scores. And I mentioned CAB a lot. It's Central Analysis Bureau. Central Analysis Bureau is something that every insurance company looks at and is the primary of your rates. Base point of your rates, I would say, in my opinion, that I see. And, those warnings are actually violations. Just because they said, hey, that's a warning. It's not true. It's not true. It's a violation. It's listed, and it does affect you, and it hurts you. It hurts you in your pricing. The credit-based insurance score is another factor. Those two, I feel like, along with losses and claims can be a factor in there. However, I don't feel like are the biggest factor always. They may be a big factor in whether somebody's going to offer a quote, but in the frequency of that, yes. But your CAB is going to reflect that. Your FMCSA scores are going to reflect if you're not doing the maintenance on your vehicle, if you're not, strapping down. You guys, I see those posts all the time. Rate the strap work. I love it. Those are a big deal, and the safety concerns and the MCS 150 factors in because it drives that data and gives percentages. So the more accurate your MCS 150 is, and I know most carriers have online access. It takes overnight to update on the FMCSA. It's this great thing. They can change it all the time if they want, or they can change it, I think, once every 2 years is what the FMCSA requires. I can't remember. Yeah, biannual. I would say once every 6 months. If you're 6 months before your insurance is going to, renew, it takes about 3 months for all that data to fully generate and kick out those fancy numbers to the insurance company.
So I have a question about the FMCA score and the inspections, because I've been on a rampage about this. So if you don't get pulled in to get inspections, right, it doesn't reflect on your score, so that can negatively affect your insurance.
Not necessarily. I get better rates with the guys that don't have inspections than the ones that have bad inspections.
Okay.
It depends on how long you've been in business. Why haven't you been pulled in? Sometimes you haven't been pulled in because maybe you only go 300 miles and
we get pulled in like weigh stations all the time, but we always get green light and go because we have our overweight permits. We never get pulled in. We've literally had one inspection in 2 years. And it was because we purposely went there so that we could pull for Maersk and ask them to do an inspection.
Yep. So. Maersk is one that I've been familiar with. But yes, absolutely. I think that it's important that you try to initiate those. Okay. And I know that that's scary for some people, but we all know that y'all take the truck to the shop to get maintenance and it's in perfect condition when it leaves there. Take it straight over and get an inspection. Get that good inspection on there. It's going to be something that's in the positive versus, obviously always do your maintenance. We would love to, safety is important, but that you're going to pass at that time, or at least your your brain says it's less stressed about it is what has been my experience. And so definitely go, get it done if you can. I know that it's kind of, I don't know that they always report those to the FMCSA. Do you, Natasha? I think at the weigh stations they do. And there's a lot of people that have that green light because they have the Fast Pass. Is it Fast Pass? Or a couple of my carriers have told me about it, or something that you can pay for that gives you the green light at all those. But too many green lights means you don't have any inspections. And yes, that can be a negative factor. If you've been in business for 2 years, you don't have any inspections. Okay, but at 3 or 4 years and you've never been inspected, from my understanding, brokers aren't too fond of that.
Well, yeah, that was something I brought up with Dal and everybody when we were talking about this. Like, do I purposely, it's kind of those things I was joking around. I was saying, you don't pull into a Dunkin' Donuts and see a cop over there eating and purposely go over to him and say, hey, here's my driver's license, here's my insurance. You don't purposely do that, right? So it's like, even though you have nothing to hide, why are you forced to literally go find somebody and say, the agent could be having, a break or something. I pull in and be like, hey, I need you to inspect my vehicle. In some states, they won't do it. I think like Kentucky is one of them that you can't even pull in and request to have it done. So I was just curious if that did affect, because, insurance as well.
I feel like where we see it, where it's really the worst for me is like I have a carrier, their renewal kind of went up and they've had one inspection, just one, and they got put out of service. And so now their out of service percentage is really high. And she's like, I can't get inspected to save my life now. Like I've been trying to get an inspection, it's not happening, which is odd to me because she goes in and out of California a lot. And so I find the people that go in and out of California get inspected a lot. If you want to ride over to California, they get a ton of inspections.
I might get stuck there with something.
Hey, you don't have
some
to go,
batteries on my truck that they don't want or something.
You don't have to go all the way to California. You can come over, see me on the west side of Arkansas. I've got connections over here, and we can get you inspected, like by a legit DOT guy who's not gonna give it to you, but if you're straight, he's gonna give you a straight inspection. Yeah. So like we can help you out with that over on our area.
Hey,
And I just want to real quick say on the thing about zero inspections. I think that I mean, I work on the brokerage side and the asset side, so I get both sides of that. And when it comes to the broker side, like, I want you to have inspections, but here's the deal. If you've got your ELD connected to, like, we use Highway, or, people have different, platforms, but if you've got ELD connected to Highway, I could give a shit about having zero inspections. Like, I
Right.
care because the reason I ask for inspections is kind of want to know you got trucks on the road.
Right.
And that's the whole point of that. That's the and on my side anyway. So if you got any trouble on my side, you holler at me. I'll get you connected.
I love
Funny
that.
Yeah, I
how
have
much
customers,
work
they
you have to
send you the
do.
inspection and they're so excited to get a good inspection. They're like,
Yeah.
put this in my file. And I'm like, okay, I can't do anything with this, but like, nice work, dude. Nice work. Cause I know it can be really hard to get a perfect inspection, even
I
if
think
you're
it's
doing
hard
everything
on
right.
smaller, and it's harder on smaller carriers, right? When it comes to that kind of stuff, because of the percentages. I noticed today, like, I had one carrier that came on and I was like, oh my word, that one of the basic scores was just, I was like, that's a lot. And then I looked and it was literally one inspection.
Right.
And
And it
I'm
just
like,
throws it so
man,
out of whack.
yeah, yeah, that stinks for them. I think it's a lot harder to do those kind of things, like MCS 150, and is that MC8? I forget the letters, but anyway, the 150 and the inspection stuff. I think that when you've got your smaller carriers, and I don't know how much business y'all do. I'm sorry I missed the intro part to know if you guys deal with a lot of carriers who are like single owner ops, or if you deal with more with fleets. But I think it's when you're running 50 trucks and you get one bad inspection, it's not as bad as if you're running
No,
one truck
yeah.
and you get bad
A lot more
inspections.
leeway there.
Right. And we deal with them all, but there is a lot more of the smaller guys that I personally deal with, the 1 to 10 area. The 50 trucks and beyond is, Natasha loves those. They just are a lot more time consuming to get everything together to get their quotes. And it's hard.
Oh.
Sometimes it's a fight. You're fighting for them, but
Tough
they're
market.
fighting
They're
back. So
established. Yeah.
they're pretty
Man, I tell
established.
you, I get it. I'm our asset side runs about 50, and I know, like, I work through that every year.
The
So
VIN numbers.
yeah,
But I think when we were talking here is I think that safety is really the most important thing more than your
yeah.
credit-based insurance score. It's going to be
Mhm.
safety. And so,
Mm-hmm.
because my dad was an insurance agent, I was a big nerd. Like, I wouldn't let anybody drive my car. I was really worried about all these things that are going to happen with the insurance because my dad's kind of a worst case scenario guy from selling insurance so long. And I
I love
don't
it.
think that we're always taught how to think about insurance. And so if you look at a one truck account, where I have a guy that went from 1 to 5 and he's like, I don't see what the big deal is. I can add 4 trucks a year. And the insurance companies don't like that. And so I think safety is the number one thing. And then the driver quality is going to be the number two thing, in my opinion. That's what I'm looking for, is a safe carrier, the culture of the company, and then the drivers. But when you look at it like, okay, I've got 5 trucks on the road every time, all at one time for your one account, we could be talking $5 million in liability claims. We could be talking 500,000 in cargo claims. We'd be talking 150,000 in trailer interchange claims. Another, 5 million if it went to a general liability situation. And so I don't always think that people think about it like that when they're comparing it to the price that they pay.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy the other day say something interesting to me. He's like, I paid 50,000 for my insurance this year. He's like, I didn't make one claim. I didn't have any bad inspections. Wouldn't it be awesome if they gave me some money back? Like, you get it back if you don't use it. And I'm like, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting premises. I was really intrigued by that. Never thought of it like that, but it's a lot of money on the line, especially if you get into a really bad claim, where we've got a lot of liability on the line.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, leading up to my renewal, that's what I was like. Yeah, my insurance, we hadn't had any accidents, we hadn't had any claims, driving record stayed the same 2 drivers. I'm expecting like in car insurance, you drive good, your insurance goes down, and it went up, and I was like, what's this crap?
Yeah, and I think that's like, we kind of like when I would sell a new venture policy, it's like, if you do everything great, in my opinion, you usually can start to see the lower prices 3 years in. Now, if I said that 3 years ago, you could come back and yell at me this year because we're in a hard market for insurance. And so the prices are up. What they want to write is much smaller. And so I've seen increases, small or large, and we fight, we fight them as best we can with the underwriters, but there's state approved rate increases. if you call an underwriter, there's disasters, there's this, there's that, there's everything. Inflation is up, the cost of parts, the times they're in the shop when they're down, everything's up. And so that's kind of what they're telling us. Plus, they've integrated some of these, like Jessica said, artificial intelligence into that underwriting process. And so it can look at a lot more data than we can. It can put a price on something a lot differently than myself and an underwriter together would try to do, even though I don't determine prices. I just argue to try to get better prices. And so it's been an interesting change for us. I've noticed since about January of this year, and it's all the companies, none of them in particular. They're all, the prices are up across the board, whether you're good, mid, or we usually quote kind of mid to up on the carrier side as far as quality, but we kind of get it. We're the first underwriters. And so we're looking at that. Is this something that we could get a good number on? And then we go from there. But it's really hard for us to explain price increases without having that conversation with the underwriter who works on your policy, of course. So I know we're opening up renewals, and then we're right on the phone with underwriters like, hey, what's the cause for this increase? What can we do to get this lower? But we've been shopping a lot this year, I'd say, personally. So the price has definitely been up.
How does windshield claims play into it when you're in a state where I guess it's free if you turn it into your insurance? I don't know how to explain it. South Carolina,
the $0 glass deductible.
Yeah. So how does that play into
it's definitely a thing on car insurance? I know. Did we just talk about this the other day, a couple weeks ago?
Yes, I hate this question. Yes,
it's not my favorite question either.
It's Great West is going to tell you that it's going to be your deductible, which is whatever you've got that set at. It's $1,000 because I don't think they fall in the same realm. I don't see any of that in the documentation. I know that I've fought for some of those and people get really upset about it because the glass isn't 100% covered or whatever. And I always take it to the underwriter and I always take it to the claims rep and I always try. But as of now, I have failed.
Well, I know for personal car, which I haven't had to claim one yet on the commercial vehicle, but in South Carolina, it's a law. I don't know because their roads are so bad and they got so many damn
They
potholes.
are so bad. As soon as I cross the state line, I'm like, I'm in South Carolina. So I'm in North Carolina. So I go down to kind of like the Spartanburg area. And every time it's like a line of demarcation in the road. Yeah. Now you're in South Carolina. Yeah. And you're like, what just happened? I'm sorry. It's crazy. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. So I just didn't know how that played on the commercial side. Because like I said, I literally just had to have my wife's Tahoe windshield replaced because she got whacked by a big rock, and they just come out and replace it, and there's no deductible, there's no anything. I'm like, I wonder what happens when it happens on the big truck.
Yeah, I think it depends on the carrier, to be honest. I know I've got a hotshot account in Progressive in South Carolina, and they definitely have that $0, but I don't know if it's because it's a private passenger type vehicle or not.
No, okay.
I'd have to get back to you with that 100% answer because I had somebody ask me that, but he wasn't in the state where it even happens, and I'm like, where did he come up with this question? So I got to know, of course, but I haven't checked in personally with Great West in South Carolina.
I think that's all my questions, Rob.
Nope.
I'm just glad you're able to come on, and listen to them and talk directly. That's Steve. That's the beautiful lounge, man. Someone's in the comments, like, ask a question, like, "Hey, screw that shit. Just jump on, man. Ask them directly. Like, let's get you on the show." And Claudia, like, we love having you on anytime, Claudia. Claudia's like for real one of the OGs. And I want to say this real quick, Claudia, as a side note. I have a friend of mine. His name is Julian, and we were in a car club together, and he's in construction, but he is watching every one of our shows start to finish while he plays Call of Duty. I'm serious. I can show you the DMs. Point is the picture he sent me last night, he was like, dude, I'm watching this one. I don't even know what y'all talking about, but this is cool. And it was the first show we had Claudia on, Hunter. That's the one he was watching.
Oh. I will just say I was not entirely sober for the entire part of that, but I did remind my boss. Before we went on. I was like, I was at a work function, and I told him, I was like, I would just like to remind you when I walked out that you told me to be me, like you said, bring authentic me. So I did. I would just like to remind you before you watch that's, I mean, P.S. You discovered me in a bar as well. So I'd just like to remind you.
Claudia uses the "I was not sober" excuse all the time.
That's a true statement, though. I mean, unless you catch me in the hours of like 8 to 5 Central Standard Time for the most part.
She doesn't have to be.
To elaborate Central Standard Time, because she said, if you're at in California and it's 3 p.m. and you see me drinking, just know I don't have a problem. I wait until after work. Oh man, Claudia, we absolutely adore you. You know that. You and Tim and Steve, you guys have y'all been with us for a very long time, and we appreciate it. And Jessica and Tasha, now you guys are going to be with us forever. We're going to have a part 2, part 3, and who would have known that we could go 2 hours on insurance? And I want to point this out, Hunter. I don't know if you remember, but one of the first guests we had was Karen Cole with King and Cole Insurance. They're out of Georgia, and we had them. We had her on, and she put out some great stuff. And y'all were the only other one that we've had on since her, and that was almost a year ago. And you guys have elaborated and brought so many incredible things to the forefront. Put to rest some concerns, or have addressed some concerns, and just really given some fantastic information. And yes, this is me leading into the end of the show because my son is coming home, and
I know my people are probably hungry.
he's been gone for 2 days, so he's like, he's like, I'm really wiped out. I just want to come home and lay in my bed, which he shares his room with me or whatever, right now from office space. So no biggie, but it's just been phenomenal. The fact that Brandon was watching, absolutely loved that. We really would like to just like have him on the show in some aspect. He ain't even got to talk about insurance, just to have that guy. He really seems
he's great,
like he's right up our alley, personality wise. He really does seem like a great guy, and we can't wait to have a claims person come on for you, Claudia, because I know you're gonna.
I was so curious about her questions too, and you're like, we gotta go. I was like, okay, but we need to have this part 2 with Claudia for sure.
Yeah, I only got through like half of my list.
Yeah, I was just looking at your messages. I'm like, he didn't get through many of his questions there.
I know and Tim's got many more questions, by the way.
I gave them a little heads up of what I was going to hit him with before the show started. So we didn't.
It was, but now y'all know one of the faces behind the Bannon report. Y'all guys know that they're highly respected on the logistics side of LinkedIn. Like Tim and his crew have been bringing the fraud stuff to the forefront before it was a fucking thing to talk about. You know what I mean? And I have to give credit to Claudia. I don't know if Hunter does as well, but I have to give credit to Claudia for hooking me up with Tim and the Bannon report. Like, I did not know exactly who they were, and that's why Claudia's moniker, Claudia the Connector, is the truest thing you ever see. Jessica and Natasha, I'm telling you, if you need,
I think we just connected on LinkedIn. So
yes.
You want to talk to anybody, you ask Claudia, and I'm telling you, Claudia is like 2 people away from fucking everybody in this industry. Like,
I love it.
We probably don't have time now, but later you can ask Claudia. I'll tell you how she and I met.
Was it in a bar?
No, it wasn't in a
bar.
Okay.
Story.
It wasn't a bar. Oh, that's good shit. All right, Claudia, you're the last one on. We're going to start with you. Any exiting comments, questions, concerns, or updates?
Hey, thanks so much for letting me jump on late, guys. I appreciate it. It was lovely to meet you, ladies. And I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, so I can't see the letters. Is that Steve over on the left? Like, I don't have my glasses either. So, love to connect. I love to get to know people and understand like what's going on in the industry, many different aspects. I'm insurance claims and carrier compliance and risk management and whatever, all of that side of the house is me. And don't talk to me about accounting shit. Like I don't want to know anything about that. But other side, other stuff, I got you. I appreciate you guys coming on and facing people, right? Because like it's hard sometimes to get up here and answer questions that people have about like, because insurance is sometimes a dirty word and claims are dirty words, and it shouldn't be, because like education and what y'all are doing by coming on here is exactly what we can do to like help that. And thanks for that. I appreciate you guys. Of course, appreciate my logistics lounge fellers. I met someone else new today that I'm going to connect you guys with. I forgot to earlier, so I'll do that. But I appreciate it. I've got to hop off here actually before everybody gets to say their goodbyes, and I'm sorry I got to run to a meeting. But thanks so much, guys, and love to connect
night.
otherwise.
Yeah.
And
Bye,
have a great day.
Claudia. Bye,
See you
Claudia.
later.
Have a good one.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye bye.
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 She is she's freaking amazing.
She's got a good vibe.
Yeah.
Claudia's awesome. Not only what she does, but again, she's a Marine Corps vet, and as a fellow veteran, that's usually the only thing I need to know about some fucking bodies. You're a veteran, and you're good in my book. Jessica, any exiting comments, questions, concerns, updates, or plugs?
No, I appreciate you guys having us. Obviously he's had our website scrolling across there, a direct email that links to Natasha and I, a phone number. You're going to get one of our assistants, fair warning. It'll be Selena or Michelle. They're also very, very trained and very well versed in trucking, in what we need to know. You will get to connect with one of us as an agent. We promise you that if that's what you're looking for. I am pretty excited to hopefully chat again. This part 2, part 3, I'm looking forward to it. I have some more questions that Tim has, and I was kind of looking forward to. So excited about that. Hopefully, Steve, if you reach out, we can help answer something for you. Other than that, you guys have always been great. Loved meeting you at Matt's. Loved having, that you had us on the show. Hunter, didn't hear from you much, but but if there's anything we can do, you guys are both connected on LinkedIn with me. Just let me know.
For sure. And hey, Jessica, since you live in Texas here, I want you to think about coming to the Texas Trucking Show
in Houston.
It's the last weekend of June in Houston at the NRG Center. You ain't got to put a booth or anything there, but Hunter, myself, and a few other of the lounge lizards are going to be there. And so if you can make it,
I'm gonna make it, because my wife's been telling me we're going, and I was like, nah, I don't want to drive to Houston. It's 2 hours. It's only 2 hours. And yes, I'll be there.
Cool. Awesome. We'll freaking hook up with that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
We'd like to know what you guys think are like the 4 biggest trucking shows to be at a year besides Matt's. Like, what's the other 3? That's what we're kind of like trying to plan a couple events a year. And
Hunter, send. Actually, I will. Hunter sent it to me. I'm going to send you guys something Hunter sent me earlier. Hunter, what is it? Tell them what it is.
You're muted.
I like watching people.
It's thetruckshowlist.com.
Okay.
That's the one I already picked truck shows off of. One of those I think is there's one in Nacogdoches. I probably said that name
yes,
wrong. I'm new here.
In September.
Yeah. Yes, we'll see that there too.
Let's do it.
Yes.
I don't want to fly anywhere. I like the
You don't gotta fly, Natasha. Drive down. I stay in my house. See, I've got a spare room.
I only fly to Idaho when we go to the office.
That should be awesome. Natasha, any exiting comments, questions, concerns, updates, or plugs?
I'd just like to say thanks. I was extremely, extremely nervous about coming on here, and we're trying to get into online content more, and it's definitely outside of my wheelhouse. So thank you for making it so easy. Then when Tim messages, I'm like, oh no, he's gonna like rake us over the coals here with insurance stuff. And I'm like, I can't believe we agreed to do this. I called Jessica. We didn't even get into how we're like work besties after we got thrown together here. But I'm like, I can't believe you did this. And I'm the one who told her to make sure we got on here with you
I
guys.
don't know why everybody thinks I'm a bad guy.
we weren't sure. What was that post he said? Should I be nice or something, or take
Oh,
it
yeah,
easy
yeah.
on us? And I'm like, oh my God, what is he going to say? What's this guy going to say?
I was like, bring it. And she's like, oh my God, why did you say that?
So yeah, thanks for having us. We had a great time at Matt's. I'd love to get on here with Reed. I love Reed. I'm highly entertained by Reed. He's like my favorite LinkedIn person. I just think he's hysterical. And so we really enjoyed meeting you guys. I still don't understand Discord, but I like view things on there. And I was in Tech Bro Tuesday a couple times. I don't know what any of them people are talking about either, but just try to learn more and more about the trucking industry besides just the insurance. So thanks for having us on.
You're welcome. And next time we have you guys on for the round 2, we'll get with Reed. Hunter and I will get with Reed, and we'll bring him on, and we'll get him to send you an autograph. And
I just love him. He's so funny to me. That's why I said we were on LinkedIn. I'm like, you have to find out. I'm like, you have to follow this guy Reed. He's hilarious. And that was kind of when we first started out on LinkedIn and then Discord and some of that. And he just cracks me up. He just says the most off the wall stuff, and everybody loves it. And I love those truck parking people too from that event. That was really fun. I told my father-in-law he's looking into starting one in New Jersey, so I like them a lot too. So
we Hunter and I know all of them. We talked to him a lot. Hunter more so than I, because he's been to a few more shows and he's like sent him personally. But yeah, hey, either one of those, you want to get hooked up,
he said it all.
Glad to make an introduction. Evan Shelley, the founder of Truck Parking Club, is a good
they're really nice
component of the show. The other Hunter Shearer, he's absolutely amazing. So yeah, we'll get Reed on here, and I'm going to connect you guys with Truck Parking Club's customer service. Her name is Jordan.
We probably talked to her.
She'll get that. When you get with her, I want you to call her Amber and then say, Jordan. She's going to do it. It's exactly who sent you. I don't know why I thought her name was Amber, but I'll hook you guys up with them so they can send you guys some swag.
Nice.
I'm not wearing it, but I have the hoodie right here, and so yeah,
I've got the T-shirt from Matt's, and I get a lot of comments on it, like people asking me what that is, and then I go into this 30-minute spiel about how great they are, and how everybody needs truck parking, and people get really bored. But
they have a form. I know I have the links to it. They have a form. I'll send it to both of you, and you can just put in there what kind of swag you want, and they'll send you whatever you want. Like Evan's
awesome.
really good about providing that stuff.
Nice.
Steve, any exiting comments, questions, concerns, updates, or plugs?
First of all, I just want to thank you guys, again, for bringing some awesome people onto the show. I found my my factoring company through this show, and it sounds like maybe I just found my new insurance agent through this show. So nice. I definitely appreciate you guys. I know you guys asked about trucking shows. I don't know if you guys are interested in going. There's a broker carrier summit in Fort Worth, Texas on October 23rd to the 25th. Great show. Brings up, a lot of brokers there, carriers there. They do a lot of great stuff. I think adding an element of insurance and having you guys talk to the team about that would be awesome. So I would definitely check that out. Hit up Dan Lindsay, and come join us. I know there's a bunch of us going down there for that. I think you guys are going too, right, Rob?
Hell, yes, we are.
Yeah.
Steve, you just wait. You just wait till you see what the Logistics Lounge and the Broker Carrier Summit have in the works. Yeah.
Nice.
You just wait, brother. You just wait. Natasha and Jessica, Steve, thank you for bringing it up. We're going to hook you up with Dan Lindsay. He is the founder of the Broker Carrier Summit. We'll hook you up with him, guys. He doesn't do any promotional stuff there. That is not what the show's for. But like Steve said, it'd be really good to have y'all on to talk from a perspective y'all at, because there's brokers and carriers there. It'd be good for you guys to say a lot of the things that you said here. Great fucking idea, Steve. Oh, that's why we keep you around. even though IT Brian keeps telling us to kick you to the curb, we knew there was just so you know, IT Brian is his brother. So we all fuck with each other and stuff. Mr. Bannon, same question. Any comments, exiting comments, questions, concerns, updates, or plugs?
Natasha, Jessica, very nice to meet you. Super excited to have insurance people in the circle, and I know it's from the fraud, the transportation fraud. there needs to be more communication on every side of it. And I hope that you know that if you run into something that looks fishy and it's maybe not in your realm, like you didn't know what double brokering really was, that you've got a group now that you can reach out to and ask. And anybody knows, if they know me on LinkedIn, they can message me anytime and I'll dig into it and see what I can find out, so kudos to, your success. And I'm glad you've steered clear of the fraudsters so far, so good. And I hope that continues. It's good to know. I keep track of the bad insurance agencies, and it's nice to, know some good ones out there. So when I see your name pop up, it's
Tim, is it okay if I share your personal profile with them?
We're already connected. We're already good.
Okay, cool.
I didn't want them to feel like I was gonna come in and hit them, so I introduced myself a little bit earlier today. So we're connected and
awesome,
all set. So
awesome.
Steve, good to see you, man, and you guys too. Thanks for we talk about the fraud, and I know we spend a lot of time on LinkedIn talking about the bad carriers. But the Bannon report, we know they're just a little pawn, and it's the bad insurance and the bad factoring companies and the bad freight brokers, and the carriers are just the easy target,
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be done to get everything right. And I know everybody's talking about the FMCSA is doing their part and everybody's doing their thing, but everybody needs to be part of it with whatever way they feel, can add to the pie, add to the puzzle.
Hell yeah. And you saying that, man, I'm gonna Hunter and I are gonna bombard you with freaking profiles. We're gonna connect you guys. If you're not hooked up with him, Mr. Dale Prax with
Dale. We're connected with Dale. Yeah, he's a freight fraud fighter. He's one of the originals.
I mean, Natasha and Jessica.
Sorry.
If you guys are not hooked up, I'm going to send you Dale Prax is profile on LinkedIn and Freight Validate. Those guys are at the forefront of trying to help defraud and theft, if that's even a fucking word, this industry. But just with you guys where you're at, Tim was just saying it, like carriers are an easy target. Double brokering is a crazy thing. And in y'all's realm, it sucks, but insurance fraud on our side is a huge, huge thing when it comes to this. And honestly, not to tell y'all what to do, but having as many tools and people in your toolbox and in your network to help you guys, would be an incredible thing. So yeah, we'll could be like, God, that's like
that'd be great.
8 fucking people, Hunter. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's how we do it. Mr. Hound, you know what it is, brother.
What's up? Hey, thank y'all for joining us. Steve, Tim, Jessica, Natasha. I know I didn't talk too much, but like I said, I don't really know a whole lot, in depth about commercial insurance stuff. But I appreciate what y'all do. I mean, there's always problems in any sector of this industry. So, people that are fighting the good fight and doing the right thing out there, I gotta applaud y'all for that. But everybody watching, we have some updates in the lounge starting next week. Wednesdays and Thursdays. They'll be going on at the same time, but we won't be going live. We're working on some more production quality. Fridays will be live, so Freestyle Friday is it's going to remain the same. But yeah, keep an eye out for some changes. And thanks for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Good night.
Hell yeah, dude.
Good night.
I love that, Hunter. We got some good things in the work, man. Up in that production quality. I love how you put it, because that's exactly what we're trying to do, is make this show better for all you lounge lizards out there. Before we chop out this piece, we're gonna roll into that final sponsor break. And man, I mean,
I love the commercials. They're good.
Yeah.
We appreciate
we need to be
that.
one of those commercials. That's what I was looking. I was like, hey, we need that.
We'll be talking. We'll be talking. Don't you worry. There's going to be a future with United and the lounge. You mark our words there. Gigo, they've only been with us for a little bit, but we think y'all already know what they are. If you're using that out of date trash cell phone tracking for your freight or your assets, you're doing it wrong. We are trying to implement this right now over where I'm at. GGO, real-time GPS tracking updates every 2 minutes anywhere in the world. If your freight leaves Texas and ends up in Antarctica, you're going to fucking know about it, but only if you have GGO. I'll tell you, bro. I don't know what it is about that song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
I need to find a way to download it. I want to listen to it. I don't know what it is about that song, dude. I honestly want to listen to it in my car because I have a system in my car, and I want to hear the bass line. Like, I want to know if it thumps as loud as I think it thumps. You talking about other things that thump. You're going to want to thump your old factoring company with those high factoring rates. Once you get in touch with Shoreline Capital, and you can get some rates starting.
You missed your calling, man. You missed your calling.
I told him already. You know,
And you can get those factoring rates that could be starting at 2.5%, going down as low as 1.5%. You know how much money that could save you over the course of a year. And as our friend Teddy Tugboat says, it's a sure thing with Shoreline. Before I make exiting comments, Truck Stop, I want to say, you told me to slide into your DMs, and I have slid into your damn DMs, and you have yet to respond to Pedro Potato and the Logistics Lounge. We need to have you on. Quit playing games with us. We know you want to come on, and you know we want to have you on. We have to give the people what they want, and they want truckstop.com to come on the show and represent.
And update their portal faster.
Yeah. So we can make y'all official lounge lizards. We got to make this happen. So no excuses. I slid into your DMs. I'm actually going to DM you on X, LinkedIn, and Facebook everywhere I can as soon as I get off here, so you have no excuses for avoiding us. All right. We appreciate everyone joining us on this incredible Wednesday Hump Day episode. Natasha, Jessica, was fantastic to have you, as well as what they say. I love it. Look, bro.
I love their new marketing guy person is great.
We appreciate everybody joining us. Natasha, Jessica, Brandon, and Selena there from YouTube as well, from United, chiming in the comments. We actually appreciate it. We will be definitely looking forward to part 2 of having y'all come on, and we'll put y'all on with Claudia. That will be a fantastic show. Tomorrow, we have Hope Zavara with Mother Trucker Yogo.
Wow.
Mother Trucker Yoga. God dang it, did it twice. Coming on the show. Hope, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. You know we love you. Hope coming on the show tomorrow. Hunter, I looked at the flyer we made for her. Dude, we had her on December 16th of last year.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
I know, bro. That's nuts. It's been 6 months. So happy to have her on. And then Friday, one night only, we have Redneck Trucker and Van Brown with Bull Snot going to come on the show, and we're going to hang out with us.
Nice.
Everyone should know who Bull Snot is, and if you do not, you need to go follow Bullsnot across all social media platforms. They're absolutely amazing. Again, we appreciate everyone joining us. And as I always say, chunk the deuces, Mr. Hound, roll that beautiful bean footage.